Pelicans absolutely destroy the Clippers tonight, presented by the Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Boot Krewe Media, located at 918 Poydras Street by the Superdome. Give them a call at 504-523-5413. If you or someone you know have been involved in an accident, Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Boot Krewe Media. The OGs tonight, me and Ross. Wow, just us two tonight, late night, so y'all will probably catch us in the morning, but the Pelicans absolutely destroyed the Clippers. I mean, just destroyed them. Ross,
Smash.
I don't even know who to start with tonight. We have to probably start with Brandon because Brandon, per the broadcast, Antonio Daniels said 24 assists and 0 turnovers in
That's
his last
crazy.
2 games.
I heard him say that at the end of
So someone said
toward
he
the
had
end
an
of regular.
offensive foul, but like who cares? He looked. I was talking to Lito tonight. He looked like vintage, like T-Mac tonight. Like he looked like, yo, I'm the best player on the floor. Get the fuck out of my way, and I'm gonna win this ball game. And that's what he looked like tonight.
Yeah, and we had a guy make 10 threes. That helps a lot. A lot. I'll say this. Let's go back. I mean, we beat the hell out of them tonight. Okay, I just want to get that out. This was the performance that we've been waiting on really for a while. I mean, I feel like I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, but this might be the best game we played all year. The best non-Zion game we played all year.
Damn, and CJ had 21, and CJ was efficient tonight too.
That was going to be the other thing I was going to say. Other than the very obvious, Brandon was incredible. Trey is morphed into something that's a real problem. I thought this was one of the best games CJ has played. He facilitated. I mean, there were points in the game where he really, really wasn't looking to come off of a screen or come off of a curl and shoot. He facilitated tonight. I don't know how many assists he ended up with, but how many do you have in front of you?
Who, Brandon or CJ? Had 8 assists, 8 rebounds tonight.
Had 8 assists tonight. So that it felt like there was a point in the game where he was really making it an effort to facilitate. And look, when you got Trey Murphy out there that's knocking it down every time he's got a glimmer of daylight, you start facilitating. I thought Jonas was just god awful in the first quarter, but to his credit, played much, much better down the stretch. But basically, about middle of the second quarter on, kind of like a light switch. It felt like they started to kind of try to get him the ball a little more, which maybe helped. He was really bad early, but came around. This is, I think, the best game we played without Zion all year. I really believe that.
All year. Can we talk about? I gotta talk about Herb Jones. Yeah, if you look at the box score tonight, not that great. But what he did with Kawhi Leonard, also. Mm-hmm. Here's Chaz. Chaz joined the stream. What's up, Chaz?
Oh, no.
So we're talking about Herb Jones. I thought Herb tonight was fantastic, and he gets caught in the eye. He's got a puffy eye, everything like that. We'll go Ross and Chaz, but what Herb did to Kawhi tonight, and especially Herb on the offensive glass. How many different times did you just see him keep a possession alive? Ross, we'll let you go with Herb first, then go Chaz.
Yeah, this game felt very similar, excuse me, to the way we played late last year. Herb giving someone else, like a guard or wing on the other team, hell. That was like, think about that when we played really well the last 20, 25 games of last year. It was almost always the same thing. Brandon facilitating, the offense running through Brandon, and Herb making someone's life a living hell. And tonight, Kawhi Leonard's been great. After the All-Star break, he might be the post-All-Star break MVP. He's been incredible, okay? Efficient, incredible. Herb made his life a living hell tonight.
Chaz, what did you see from Herb? Oh, he's muted. Sorry, my bad.
Truthfully, and this is going to be controversial, I thought Herb was a player of the game. I honestly did. Every time I saw Herb, he was doing something positive. Like, it was a big play, still here. Great play. I just thought Herb was incredible everywhere on the floor tonight. I think I might have seen him make one mistake. And I know you had B.I. who played great, and you had CJ and JB who closed the fort incredible, and Trey Murphy was great all night. But, man, I really thought Herb set the tone for the entire game. Him and Trey. But
I was going to say, I wanted to get your opinion, Chaz, because I just said this before you got on, and I mean, you've obviously been critical, especially in the post, in the non-Zion games. I think this is the best game we played without Zion all year that I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, there maybe was something early in the year, but in terms of just a complete game where we actually defended, I mean, I don't know. What did we finish from three tonight? We're not going to shoot like that. We're not going to shoot like that every night. But
no, you're not. You're not.
I would say, since I might agree with you, since it was on the road, but I thought that Kings game and the Indiana game, where it was no, like, we just blew Indiana out.
Yeah,
but this was a game on the road, so this one probably was more significant.
Chaz, let's talk about CJ. Well, let's talk about Brandon first. Let's talk about, what did you like from Brandon tonight? Because Brandon's looked a lot different over this stretch, right? And and you've been somewhat critical of him, and you talked about showing up in big games. Well, tonight was a big game on the road. Brandon showed up. What did you see from him, just from the jump? What did you see from Brandon?
I like that he played a lot faster. I like that everyone just looked a lot faster, a lot smoother. They didn't seem real panicky. They didn't settle a lot of the times. I like that initially I thought he was kind of swaying away from contact. Everybody was, because neither team really had any fouls like for a while. But in that second half, that play where he finished the finger roll through contact, I was like, yes, let's keep doing that. Because I knew at some point the threes weren't going to keep falling. So you needed to get to the line. I think with him, especially if he can bottle this up as far as his plan with a quicker pace, being more decisive, and initiating contact, attacking with bad intentions, attacking to try to finish through someone, because that's how you get that whistle. You got to be a little, it sucks, but you got to be a little reckless when you attack and, get to the line, you knock them down. Yeah.
I completely agree with you, Chaz. Ross, another guy, I mean, we got to talk about him. You texted me Trey Murphy is becoming a full-blown problem. We'll go Ross and Chaz and hear your thoughts about him, because, look, man, he's not going to shoot like that every single night, but holy crap, when he's averaging 9, 10 3-points, is what we've been saying this entire time. It doesn't matter if it goes in or out. It does not matter. It matters that it opens up the floor, because now you got to close out on that dude, and you got to close out long. And that opens up opportunities for JV, for Brandon, for CJ. He is a difference maker for this team.
Yeah, I told you this, but I've been in a little bit of an argument with some guys over, kind of comparing Clay's first 2 years to Trey Murphy's first 2 years. And if you just look at it, there's a lot of similarities. Tonight was very, it just was very reminiscent of the way some of the games Clay's had. I bet Trey Murphy didn't dribble the ball 20 times tonight. I bet he didn't dribble the ball 20 times. And he had whatever he had, made 10 3. I don't know how many points. 40, 30, whatever. And I bet he 32. Didn't put the ball I bet he didn't dribble the basketball 15 times. That to me shows, one, obviously, confidence goes a long way, right? But it shows me that he's getting smarter about knowing when to release, when to come off of a screen, when his guy's not paying attention, and he can make not even a cut, 2 steps in the opposite direction, get him the ball on time and on target, and shoot. They shoot it every time. Not sometimes, shoot it. If you got a glimmer of daylight, shoot it. And if he can play that way, he's not gonna make 10 threes every night. But if he can continue to play the way he's played, we talked about it on the last show, attempting 10 threes a night. That's what he is right now. That's the player he is.
5 joined the show. Let me get 5. Let me get 5 first, then I'll go to you, Chaz. 5. We talked about Brandon. We talked about Herb. I'm gonna let you go. But what did you see from Brandon? Chaz said that Herb might have been the player of the game tonight. The way he defended, the way he just took Kawhi out of the game. I mean, this is Kawhi Leonard. But first, talk about Brandon, and then go with Herb.
Brandon just kept the rhythm that he had going from last game moving forward to this one. Just passing the ball. I think just he needs to get out fast. I mean, if he starts fast, I think that's a pretty good indicator that he's going to have a decent or a good game. The way he was sharing the ball, looking for shooters. I mean, when the ball goes in, when you're moving the ball correctly, even if you miss shots, if you're shooting good shots, eventually they're going to go in. And I think that's a key indicator that the team's going to need to move forward. But Herb, man, I was thoroughly impressed with Herb. Like, I don't care if Herb shoots and makes another shot. I do not care because he does things on the defensive end that you cannot teach. Or you could, but that person's not going to be as good as Herb. They're just not. And there's nothing they can do about it.
Jared, I also point out before I get to Chaz, I also point out how many possessions did he keep alive tonight? Just on the offensive glass. I mean, just tipping out, keeping balls active. I mean, at least 4 or 5.
At least 4 or 5, at least minimum. I mean, but that's Herb. Like, he can do that every night. I mean, when you have him involved in spots where he can succeed, the other stuff is going to take care of him. So if he's worried about shooting threes, that's going to take away from the other stuff that he does very well. Man, like, this is what I was really impressed about. He got a shiner tonight. He got elbowed in the eye. Got taken out, and then at halftime, like, nope, I'm back. Nope, I'm guarding Kawhi. He was fighting over screens like this dude's a menace. He was fighting over no, he didn't want to switch. Like, he was trying to deny the switch every time. So that's what I was most impressed about.
And that's the same dude that got hurt in a collegiate game with his left arm and shot free throws with his right arm or right hand. Sorry, that's just who Herb Jones is. Chaz, go ahead, talk about Trey.
Hey man, some guys are made like that, man. I think the great thing about Trey, friend of the show, clearly watches our episodes and my hot takes, because he's just doing what we've been asking him to do this whole time. It's like, wow, look at that. You were in one spot, I blinked, and you were in another spot. Ain't that crazy how that works? Like, it's insane. But I think defensively, I think Trey has improved a lot.
How many blocks did he have tonight?
I think he had at least 2. I think he had at least 2, right?
Let me look that up for you. Go ahead, Chaz.
Yeah. But even his contests, they were always just right there. Kawhi again, Joel calls it a frozen string. It's like frozen rope. And it's like it's difficult to block Kawhi, because it's like Dan Marino throwing a bullet at you or something. So, but I thought defensively Trey has improved a lot. Even on that foul on Batum for the 4-point play, I think Trey would have got the call had he flopped. I think he would have got.
It was a moving screen.
Yeah, it was a moving screen. Clear moving screen, right? So if he would have flopped, I wish more of our guys did it. He wouldn't even have gotten that call. But overall, I think Trey's just continue to show growth, and I hope we continue to see it.
All right.
Justin.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I tell you something? A sequence that I feel like I've been complaining about, and something that I've been wanting to see, especially as we've gotten later in the year and you start to get into these must-win games.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point late in the third quarter where they cut it from like 19 to 14. We had 3 or 4 bad possessions in a row. And I want to go back and look at some previous games to make sure I'm not just like, I wasn't seeing things and this wasn't out of the rotation. About a minute and a half left in the third. They cut it to 14, little momentum, immediately pull CJ and Trey up, says get back in the game. We wasn't going to let it get any farther than that. And we've been critical of Willie Green about not doing that kind of stuff, not calling timeouts at the right time, not saying at certain points of the game, man, screw the rotation. I don't give a shit who's in there. Like, y'all got to go back in. And when I saw them get up and then point down there for those 2 dudes to get back in the game with 90 seconds left in the third, that to me sent a signal of, yeah, we're not messing around anymore. For all intents and purposes, we played 7 guys tonight.
Yeah, and another guy we haven't really talked about, I thought gave really productive minutes. I'll start with Jarrett, was Josh Richardson. I thought he hit some big threes tonight, especially from that left wing. Josh was like, I'm not saying like Josh was like a game changer, but he is that guy that kind of like you can get off the bench, like kind of trust him in those like big game situations. But Jarrett, I really liked what Josh did tonight.
I thought Josh played really well. I mean, even defensively, I thought he did some great things. I mean, like he said in the Pelicans released their their seems like monthly thing, their show. He said he's a connector piece, right? Like that's what he is. Like he's been a good player on a really good team before. He's been on bad teams before, so he can fill a role really really easily. You want to talk about plays that I thought were like moments. I was like, wow, we weren't doing this 10 games ago, 20 games ago. We got two good looks. Trey missed a three on a fast break. Trey missed a three. Herb gets the rebound. Swing it to Brandon. Brandon misses, right? That 10-game losing streak, the team probably hangs their head, becomes lackadaisical. This time, Trey runs back, gets a back tip, steals it. That doesn't happen. Like, the mentality has changed. That's the thing I want to point. Like that the way they're playing has changed. Even if this was a loss, like if you're doing things like this, that tells me that the team is growing in a way that's positive. Like this is what we really wanted to see. Like wins and losses aren't guaranteed, but the way you play, the effort you put forth, that's the only thing you can really change and affect. If you continue to play really well, the wins will come.
Yeah, and Chaz, Ross talked about this last podcast. You weren't on it, but Ross talked about how, like, yes, it's the Rockets, it's the Spurs, it's the Hornets, but it gets you your confidence back, right? Like, beating up on those teams. I feel like this team now finally has a little bit of confidence, and they're taking, beating up on Houston, San Antonio, and Charlotte, and they're bringing it now to the Clippers. Now, can they bring it to Portland? Can they bring it to Golden State? Can they bring it to Denver?
Look, if you go into Portland and lose, nothing that has happened.
There cannot be a letdown, especially with the Dame rumors, right? There cannot be a letdown.
Yeah. So with me, look, I'm happy they won. Every victory is a good victory from this point on. But let's keep some perspective here. Let's go into Portland. Let's win. Let's try to win the next one. Let's just keep it business as usual.
Chaz, you were on the last
perspective. The perspective is that just like in a 10-game losing streak, right? There's probably some games in there we lost that we should have won. Okay, or some teams we should beat as part of that 10. I mean, I don't remember who all we played, right? But
you didn't have Brandon or Zion though,
right? But the point is that it can snowball bad and it can snowball good, and sometimes it just takes a couple. Look, there's a reason that Alabama plays, college, the blind, sick, and ugly to start off every season in football. Getting your confidence back against teams like that can snowball, and then you show up at a place like, LA on the road and you play how you played tonight. I agree with you. There can't be a letdown when you go to Portland, but this looks to me like a confident team that is building back up at the right time.
Jarrett, we talked about this. I'm going to go Chaz and Ross. We talked. These next 4 games, including tonight, were huge. We're huge just in the standings, right? Utah lost tonight. The Lakers played the Bulls back-to-back times. We needed this Clippers win because the Clippers come to the Smoothie King Center next week. The 6, 7, 8 spot it's attainable. What do you think they have to? All right, so they beat LA tonight. They get that victory. 3-1 is not out of the question here on this road trip. What do they have to go here?
I mean, of course, you've won 3-1. 2-2 is okay.
2-2 is okay.
2-2 is okay. It can't be 3 straight. You can't rattle off 3 straight losses. Like you cannot do that. I think that's the recipe for disaster at this point. Take care of Portland, and then you can figure out, Denver and Golden State and how you want to attack that. That team those 2 teams are beatable, but you just can't beat yourself when you're playing them. I think the team played really well versus Denver when it was at the Smoothie King Center. I was there, and it was a close game. I don't think
Herb missed the slip. I'll never forget. Herb missed the Billy Hurtingham's slip to the goal. He was wide open.
Yeah, and now hopefully this team learns from things like that. I mean, CJ got a decent look at the end of the game, didn't go in. Like, had my daughter crying. Things like that. It's like hopefully this team has learned from those moments. But I look at that game, I'm like, oh, Denver's not like unbeatable, right? Joker, really good player, but I'm really not scared of Denver. Really not, to be honest. Not. They're a beautiful team.
I don't think everyone is. Chaz, this one. Chaz, beginning of the year, we talked about, not beginning, but more the middle of the year, we talked about punting games, things like that, scheduled losses, right? So you go in and you beat Portland. You have back-to-back, right? I think it's, you go to Portland, then Tuesday you play Golden State, then Thursday you play Denver.
I think it's Denver. I think it's Portland, Denver.
Denver. You get Denver the last game. It's Golden State in between. But there's a back-to-back to the Pelicans. So I'm saying
Monday, Tuesday. It's Portland on Monday and Golden State on Tuesday.
So Chaz, if you beat Portland Monday, you guarantee yourself no matter what 2-2. Do you punt Golden State and gear up for Denver, or do you?
Hell no. You've been punting games all season. Hell no.
You're playing too well.
Okay,
you don't mess something like that up. I don't think you. Nah.
Go ahead. Everyone has their thoughts. I'm just this is my thought process on it.
Isn't there a coach in like FBS that doesn't punt? Like, yeah, the Pelicans got to be that. Yeah. Like, nah.
I think it's high school, Jared, but I know
whatever. Yeah, we're just saying like, nah. Like, you got to go for it. Ain't no punting.
At this point, everyone's tired. Everyone's banged up. Herb got a black eye. Look, it's a dog fight, and the Warriors not like comfortable out of that dog fight.
No.
Now, if you wanted the liberty to punt a game, you should have beat Houston the first game. So if you handled your business, you could punt a game. But since you can't do that, get your ass up, go to work, and we'll see what happens.
Can't be a letdown in Portland. Go ahead.
Yeah, those two teams, I think are 31. I can tell you right now. Denver's 31-6 at home. Golden State's 30-7 at home. Like, they're not. Yeah, we're playing well enough to win those games right now. But I mean,
I watched.
Probably gonna lose those games.
Listen, no. Listen, I watched the Golden State Sixers game the other night.
I thought the Sixers was gonna win that.
Right, you would think, and they kind of give up the draws, and it's one of those things where you can't beat yourself versus Golden State. You can't allow offensive rebounds, and we're really not a great rebounding team. You can't allow them to go on these like thunderous runs. Like, that's why you need timeouts at opportune times versus a team like that. Like, you can't beat yourself when you're playing Golden State because they will turn the ball over. They will give you chances to get out, but you need somebody outside of Brandon, CJ, and Jonas to take off, right? Because they have firepower too.
Yeah.
All right, I mean, let's close up the show. We're 22 minutes in. We'll go Ross, Chaz, and 5 will close it. Ross, beat Clippers tonight. Where can this team finish in the Western Conference? Where can they finish?
Oh man,
I know. I see everyone's reaction. Where can they finish? Give me an answer.
Like the wild part is like it's all still in front of them. Like
they control their own destiny. I keep saying this. Play the
it's
Clippers
unbelievable.
Again.
Like, it's unbelievable that I'm sitting here saying like there's a perfectly reasonable. Like, I don't feel uncomfortable saying it. There's a a very good rationale to say like we could play decent enough to get ourselves out of the play-in altogether. Like,
they're a game and a half out of fifth.
Like,
they're a game and a half out of fifth, and they play and it's the Clippers.
What are they out of 6?
What's that?
What are they out of 6?
Game and a half out of 6, and guess what? It's the Golden State Warriors who they play. So
yeah.
Chaz, go ahead.
Look, man, just get in. I mean, at this point, look, there's nothing you can do to really change my outlook on the season. So just get in there. Hopefully Zion comes back, gets a little experience. You go into this off season, you reevaluate everything that has happened. But yeah, you do control your own destiny. The Clippers, they banged up, they old. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be angry next time you play them. So handle your business. And I think if they finish, I got us finishing 6-4 or 7-3. You do either one of those, I think you're good. Like, no matter what, I don't say no matter what, but you're good. I think Dallas is just about done, and the Jazz look pretty done.
We got 8 left, I think.
Oh, yeah. I think they beat Charlotte and they beat the Clippers.
So, I got you.
Yeah.
Chaz, that's pretty optimistic by you, bro.
He's been very optimistic. His last 2 shows, he's been optimistic.
Nah, I'm just looking at a couple things. The Clippers getting hurt changed a lot for me. Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah.
Dallas
they did look old tonight.
Dallas is
they're old.
They're done.
Jared, come on. What you got?
Let's go for it. They're not going to be in the play-in tournament.
Ooh, that can go either way. That's a safe
There's no
one.
way they're not. There's no way they're not in the play-in. There's no way.
They-
That's the floor. The floor is.
If y'all hear me, y'all
Go
not
ahead,
in the
Joe.
play-in tournament. Go ahead. Go ahead, Justin.
Well, Jared, I was saying, I think they should aim for the 8 seed, 8 or 7 seed. I'm not necessarily worried about 6 or 5. I would love the 6 or 5. Don't get me wrong, but
What
if
do
you get 8 or
wait,
7, you guarantee
wait,
yourself a home.
Stop.
What?
Stop.
What?
What do you mean aiming for the 8 or 7 seed? Like, how are you aiming for something that you're currently tied for? We're not
I mean, you're
aiming
not tied
for
for it. The
What are you
Lakers and the Timberwolves have the.
We all got the
have
same record.
tiebreaker.
We all got the
Well, they
same
have the
record.
tiebreaker. No, hold up. They have the tiebreaker. Over
You've been
us,
over
so-
here, Mr. Optimistic. We got 8 games left, and you're sitting here. We're playing for the seed that we're currently tied for. What
I
kind
think if
of
you get the 8 or
bull-
7 seed, you're fine. If you get 9 or 10, you're not making the playoffs. If you get 8 or 7, you make the playoffs. In my opinion.
All I'm saying is they're
This
not.
dude
They're
here.
not going to be in the play-in tournament. And it's just nut cutting time. I don't know where I heard that from. That's just what it is.
Heard it from me. You heard
Okay.
it definitely from me.
Like, this is a point in time where you look at this team like, all right, you've had highs, you've had lows. All right, what are you gonna do with it? All right, if you're gonna fall out, just don't play well. Go get the top pick. If you're gonna play well, get in the play-in or get in the playoffs and make some noise, because you gotta either do better than you did last year or worse. Where is this team gonna be?
Justin, before we close, I just want to bring up one thing, and I want to get your opinion on it. These last 5 games, it started to feel like the end of last year, and we're sitting here, and there's a certain someone that's hanging out on the sideline.
Does it
Like,
change if he comes
You
back?
gotta be itching. Like, there's gotta be an itch.
I'm gonna
Like,
say
are we really sticking to this? Like, well, we'll real out here until we like, if he could play.
listen, if it's up to him, from what I've seen, right? This is my opinion, no close
Mhm.
source. From what I've seen with my eyes, that dude wants to play.
Then
Well,
let him
hold
play.
up,
What-
Jared.
but
Let's
what-
wait, Jared. Hold on. Don't sugarcoat it, Jared. You've talked to him. You
Yeah.
talked to him. Don't sugarcoat it.
I mean,
But who's it up to? Because at this, and I'm not. I understand what you're saying, and I feel like you've been saying that, and I feel like we've heard other people say that, and that's what you want to hear. That's great. We got 7 games left, so like, and I'm not saying like risk. Yeah, what do you have to lose? Like if he comes back and he pulls it again, like, all right, we got the whole offseason. Like that's cool.
I mean, if he go out
There's
there,
8 games left.
yeah, but I'm saying if he goes up there and he like ruptures it,
But
'cause
they
here's
already
the
said.
thing.
But they've already cleared. What I'm saying is they've cleared him for basketball activity.
No,
Okay, and
they
he
cleared
wants
him
to
for
play.
some on court activities. That could be like dribbling and shooting free throws. That's not like running.
Chaz, we know he's been
no,
doing that,
Stop.
okay?
There ain't no stop.
So
They
what
cleared
I'm
him to run around. There ain't no way they basketball activity. He didn't break a finger. You don't think he's been shooting free throws?
I don't know if they cleared him to go into no full sprint.
yeah,
Because I think you might have seen him in a full sprint with his team, with his PR department. If you think if Zion could dunk and do a bunch of stuff right now, we wouldn't have seen that.
But what does that mean? But all right. I'm glad you said that, because then that takes me back to, I guess what Five just said. If it was up to him, he'd play. Is that what you said?
it is.
I take that to mean that the player feels well enough to play. That's how I take that.
What player doesn't feel? I mean, let's not say
Wait,
that.
I got a long
Let's
list
say
of
that.
guys now. Hold on.
All I'm gonna say is, from the small conversation we had, you can tell it's waning on him that he wants to play.
It's got to be,
Like he wants to play basketball,
especially when stuff like tonight happens. Like it's
Listen.
got it. That itch.
bro. In a loss, it feels like he hurts.
I know.
They go 3-1 on this road trip. You come back home.
Do you
I'm
think?
telling you, you're gonna start hearing. I guarantee.
That's what I'm asking. That's all I'm
You're gonna
asking.
start hearing
That's-
rumblings.
I'd like-
Zion's ramping up.
Tell Rusty Neal to get the oysters ready.
Yep.
Get
ready.
Get the oysters ready.
Get 'em ready.
We're gonna fly Chaz down. Maybe that weird guy. What's his name? That like one in the room, whatever. His
Oh,
name
yo,
is.
nah,
Houdini
that
or
dude's
something
crazy.
like that. That hates the whole. That hates the whole.
He
show.
didn't just want a room. He said you got room for one more. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Company Burger located 4600 Front Street.
That's crazy.
Sponsored by DraftKings. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with the code
Crazy.
BOOT. New customers bet $5 on any March Madness game. Right now, you get $200. Elite 8 tomorrow. Yeah, I guess it is still Elite 8. You got Texas. And who's Texas play tomorrow? Why am I blanking on that? Texas
It's
play
Miami basketball.
Miami. $200 in bonus bets. Instantly win or lose only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code BOOT. Damn, the Pelicans have won 4 in a row. They got a chance, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Love to hear what you all think. We will see y'all tomorrow night, Sunday night show. See y'all tomorrow night.